Hi, this is Wally with Supreme Aquaria, and today we're doing the July update for the whole fish room here. Whole fish room, I have 20 tanks, so I don't know if it's called a fish room or not, but oh my gosh, do we have a lot of changes. First of all, I'm getting rid of the hat, and I have to do some things in the fish room. So stick with us, and we're going to see some amazing fish today, and I think what I'm going to do is update you on every single fish tank. And I'll do a real quick update so I don't keep you all day. Stay tuned. I went ahead and changed the lighting around a little bit. I closed the curtains because the light was just incredible. But that probably doesn't matter because I'll be holding the camera as we walk through the fish tanks and showing off the fish. But I do have two more changes. Oh, yeah, that's right. I changed my hat. I had somebody on the Milwaukee Aquarium Society comment about my Chicago Cubs hat being in the Milwaukee Aquarium Society. I tried on the Milwaukee Brewers hat, but I think I'm just going to go back to the Chicago Blackhawks hat. That's me on my other channel, and I think it'll work well with this channel as well. But I have two more changes. Let me get over there right now. It's a little bit early right now, so I had to turn on the fish lights. I think that they're all awake because I've had these other lights going on anyways. And let me make one more change. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better. That fish pump, and we're going to take a look at that in just a minute, that fish pump makes a ton of noise. Let's take a look at the fish because that's why you're here. As you can see, that's my fish rack. We're holding 18 tanks on it right now. And this is new. These are 5 small plastic bins that I'm going to hold some babies in. And we're going to take a closer look at these fish tanks in just a moment. I'll talk about the updates on every single one of these tanks. Let me go ahead and span the room a little bit here. You can see my fish pump. You can see my membership list. The description is in the, or the link is in the description if you want to support Supreme Aquaria, Supreme Gecko. There's my mic, there's my camera setup. Sorry for the lighting here. My 30-gallon tank, my reptile tank. We have some food to feed in just a minute. I'll get around our big light here. I don't know if we can see in the closet, but it's a mess. Isn't everybody's fish closet a mess? Got all kinds of things going on, a towel just in case I spill, all kinds of water, all kinds of notes. Here's where I do my podcast, here's where I do my video editing. I'm probably standing in front of the light so you can't see this. There's my old computer where I have all of my Facebook, social media stuff going on. And I have my new laptop. Yes, I have 3 different computers going here. My new laptop is where I put together all kinds of files and I do most of my work. Over on the left is the storage containers for more storage for the fish. And of course our fish rack. And let's go ahead and take a look at the fish. Thanks for the patience in walking through the room. Let's go ahead and start off with this 30-gallon. I've had it set up for about a month or so, just breaking it in. I have some fish growing out. It's Pelvic subacelatus matate. Beautiful, beautiful animal. But again, this tank is just breaking in. I'm not sure what I'm going to go with in this tank. I love that saying. But whatever I go with, it's probably going to be Lake Tanganyikan type of cichlids, I'm guessing. So probably within the next month or so, we'll go ahead and set that up. Our first tank is a killifish. Here's the name. It's an Apistogramma parore kimono yellow. Beautiful, beautiful animal. And this is nearly impossible to film with one hand. If we get a good shot of this killifish, I'll just be amazed. But I fed them. I'm hoping that they come down for some food. I had a pair. I got a lot of babies. Unfortunately, I don't have many of the babies left. I just wasn't ready without brine shrimp, unfortunately. So now I have just 2 males. We might come back to this tank to see if we can get a picture of the other male, the bigger male. This next tank is Lima Perugia. Man, I'm terrible with these names. I used to know all the names years ago, but I don't anymore. But you can see they're doing really, really well in this tank. Hopefully the lighting is good. This is one batch from the bigger female that we'll see in a little bit. The next tank is Apistogramma Monroviae. Hopefully you can get a good look of this animal. I had a male and a female. Unfortunately, for some reason, the female died. I thinking that I might have had two males. Our next tank is our Albino Guppies. You can see she's doing really well, he's doing really well, and we've had a lot of fry from these animals. The next tank is empty and ready for another Killifish pair. Let's take a look at the second row. This tank is our Apistogramma agazi, as some people pronounce, fire red, and I love these fish. We'll see if we can pull in a little bit closer. I'll tell you what, it's super hard to try to feed these animals with one hand, trying to hold the camera and getting a good video of these animals. It's so quiet without that pump on. I can't believe it. I don't think that they're used to the quiet either. I have 3 pencilfish sitting in the back. You'll probably never see them. They work really, really well with dither fish. I've had a couple of spawns from this pair. The female just really doesn't want to watch the fry, it seems. As you may know by now, I just love the dwarf cichlids. Just absolutely love them. Shell dwellers, Apistogrammas, some of my favorite fish. The next tank is labeled as Apistogramma mcmasteri. Unfortunately, I only have a male left there. The female developed some kind of an eye problem, and she passed away, unfortunately. I'm going to see if I can get some food and feed this tank because I have the female Lima in there right now. This is a super, super dark tank. You can see the black gravel and the top really cut down the light in this tank. But that crypt is just going crazy, and you can see the guppy grass is going really, really well. This is a perfect tank for live bears, and I'm hoping that guppy grass takes off a little bit more. Looks like we're not going to see the female, so we'll just move on to the next tank. And by this point, you're going to be saying, wow, Wally, these tanks don't have much in them. Well, this is a different tank. These are rabbit head snails on it. I really didn't want to put many other animals in this tank in fear that they might attack the snails. And these are just unbelievably gorgeous snails. I'll see if I can get a picture of these snails. I'm going to go back to the Lima tank for a second because there's the female. I just missed her. She is as big as a balloon. We'll see if we can catch her coming back out a little bit. She's wandering backwards. I think she just saw the camera. So we'll keep moving. Here's another super dark tank. I apologize, everybody, but these tanks are set up for the fish. They're not set up to be as a community tank. They're set up to be more as a show off the fish kind of setup. Make the fish as comfortable as possible. And again, this is Apistogramma cockatoides, super red. Just love this animal. I'm going to get some food. Let's feed it and see if we can coax that female out. And again, you can see that crypt in the back is doing really, really well. I have some Java moss in here. That's doing really well. This low lighting is just perfect for these two plants. I'm not a plant person. I'm not a CO2 type of person. I like the plants to help benefit the animals, not so much to show off the tank. I don't see the female. We're going to throw in one more little scoop of brine shrimp in here to see if we can pull her out. So I have this little tiny turkey baster, and it works just great. I love that. So the male's having a good time. I think he's getting full. That female, just nowhere to be found. Should we move on? So you thought that last tank was dark. This is a really, really dark tank. I keep this usually about 3/4 filled with water. This is Betta mahakiensis. This is a wild type Betta. Unfortunately, I've lost my female. Again, this tank was set up about 1.5 years ago. I've had the pair, the male and the female, for probably about, oh, I don't even know, a little bit past that, about 1.25 years or so. They've spawned several times, probably 3 times, and the female passed away again. But I do see some babies in here, so I'm going to get some flake food. We're going to see if we can pull some of the babies up front. I'm not really seeing the male come out, and I don't see the babies, but the babies are probably about 1/4 inch and just as cute as can be. Not an easy fish to work with, not super difficult, but takes a little bit of fine-tuning to get this animal to breed. Let's move to the next tank. This is the rainbow gudgeon, and I just love these fish. I'm going to feed these and see if we can get that female and male to come out. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the female has actually laid some eggs in the pot. We'll never see them with the camera and all, but hopefully I can get some video of this a little bit later in the month if they hatch out. There we go. The male and the female are both out. The male is really skittish. This is a tank that I really need to think about putting some dither fish in, because the female is pretty aggressive to that male. And I tell you what, the babies for these guys are super small, so I'm preparing a brine shrimp hatcher today or tomorrow to make sure that I have something for them to eat, for the babies to eat once they hatch out. Their tank is very simple. Those 2 cones are places that the female will lay her eggs and care for her babies for a little bit. And this tank is a Mica splendens, and this is my first fatality in the fish room. I had a female that was doing really well, but not breeding, and ultimately she jumped out of the tank about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. Very unfortunate. I have these tops that I made out of, I don't know if we can see these, but the egg carton with some plastic on the top. I thought it was a good idea, but I might have to go with more traditional tops for these tanks. Unfortunately, you can see that they're long ways, not lengthwise, so I'll have to accommodate those tops accordingly. But this is a tank that's doing really well. We have the small plant right up in front, and the Java moss in the back, and that Java moss, I bet every 2 weeks I pull out a handful out of this tank. Looks like I'll have to get another group of Mica splendens. This is another 5-gallon tank, and it's Lima Perugia, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm going to go ahead and feed this tank, but all that we have here is the male, but we also have a bunch of those Pelvic subacelatus. And this is a really dark tank. I'm going to see if I can move the top around a little bit so we can see better into this tank. I really don't like that top at all. I'm going to have to exchange that out. But this tank, again, is doing really well. A small crypt in front, but a lot of the guppy grass, a Java fern in the back. We have a small moss ball, and another little plant up in front. Those subacelatus, or Pelvic subacelatus, are being very shy. The next 5-gallon tank, past the Lima Perugia tank, is empty. It had some albino guppies in it, and I moved them down to another tank. This is our 4th row of tanks. Our first row was 5 gallons. The next row was 4 10 gallons. Then we had 5 gallons again. And now we have 4 10 gallons. And this first tank is Neolamprologus signatus. It's amazing that these guys are out. I just fed. They're kind of a little curious, but a lot shy. They're just not an out and about kind of fish. It takes a lot to coax them out of their shells and to get them active. So I have some video on these guys that I'll show as well that really show these animals off. I love the shell dwellers. This next tank is the Pelvic subacelatus matate, and this is a darker tank. I have a couple of big pieces of driftwood in here, and it is super dark. I've got some lights on it, and it's still not going to really show off the animals very well. This is a West African riverine cichlid, and I tell you what, the females are just glowing brilliant. Their tummies when they are guarding fry are ruby red. Just an amazing animal. We see a couple of little fry popping out here. Mom and Dad are nowhere to be seen, which is kind of to be expected. Nice crypt plant growing. I love these crypts in these pots. They just do so well for me like this. And as you can see, I accent the tank with some plastic plants. I have no concerns about throwing plastic plants in tanks like this, simply to give the fish more cover. Our next tank is an empty tank, except that it holds our lone male mcmasteri. He's really not the most comfortable in this tank, but he's doing okay. I can't wait to get a female and get him back up into his original tank. Let's take a look at the next tank, and this is our final aquarium. This is another 10-gallon, and this tank holds our Neolamprologus ocelotus gold, one of my favorite tanks. These little guys are so cute. Again, with the air off and the lights and everything, they're a little bit shy, but they're not too bad of a shell dweller as far as coming out and being a little bit active. Let's grab some food to see if we can get these all the way out, but you can just enjoy the activity of these little tiny cichlids. Okay, I just fed. Let's see if we can see 4 little Neolamprologus ocelotus gold coming up. I hope you can see the glimmer of the gold off of these animals. Beautiful. Well, we have 3 out. Don't see the 4th one yet. Let's go on to our bottom tanks here. So our bottom row was just put in about a month ago, and this might be the best way to capture these instead of from the side. We have 5 different tubs, and these are all about 1920 quarts. I've got a sponge filter in each one. I've got some plants in each one and a light over top. And you can see that light because it's such a high intensity light. It's really causing chaos with the algae here. But from my concern, I'm really not worried about the algae in these tubs because that's pretty good for these little animals. Let's see if we can get a little closer. So these all are albino guppies growing out. We have, I think, 5 in this little tub. We have some females, albino females in this tub. We have an empty tub. We have 18 males in this tub. And I'll see if I can get a little closer. These are just gorgeous, gorgeous animals. That light is really causing us havoc. And we have another empty tub, except it has some snails. I have a clip down there that I put cucumbers or zucchini on to feed them. Let's go ahead and feed some of these albinos and see how they react. Well, I pretty much know how they'll react. We have 2 different age groups in the 2 bigger albino guppy tanks. And they're growing up really, really nicely. The only problem with these tubs, and I'll pull back a little bit so you can see the concern. You can see how low these tubs are to the ground, so it makes it a little bit difficult to siphon. So when it comes time to water change, since these really don't weigh a lot, I pull them out, take them to the sink, which is 5 steps away in the other room, and just dump out about half and refill it from there. That works out perfect. I really, really want to thank everybody that's viewing these videos. It's a lot of fun to show off the fish. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what we can do this next year with these tropical fish. You can see that I'm keeping some rare fish. I have plans to keep a couple of additional kind of rare fish. Fingers crossed, but just love seeing the behavior. If you like what we're doing on this channel, please go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and certainly like this video. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to see some comments down below. Thank you again for watching. I really, really appreciate it.